Coming up on MilCyberSync, the U.S. government is kicking into high gear to fill hundreds of thousands of cyber jobs.
Also ahead, Ukraine emerging as a major digital powerhouse. Those stories and more, so get ready to get in sync with MilCyberSync.
You're watching the MilCyberSync podcast with Nick Thomas and Layla Guland.
Hello and welcome to the MilCyberSync podcast, reporting on the latest events happening in cyber news. I'm Layla Guland, along with your host, Nick Thomas. Good to see you there, Nick.
Good to see you, Layla. How are you doing this week?
Doing just great. I can't believe a little coolness in the air now, finally.
Yeah, finally cooling off for us up here in the D.C. Baltimore region as well.
Very good, but things are heating up there. We've got a lot of stories coming out of D.C. and elsewhere, so we'll get to that in just a moment. But first, a reminder, if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, click on that notification bell for our latest posts. Also, if you'd like to donate to the MCPA, it's easy with Amazon Smile. If you click on the link below, you can start shopping, and a portion of your purchase goes to MCPA at no extra cost to you. Also, don't forget to use our CFC code. That's 10386.
Great. Thanks, Layla. The National Cyber Director is working on a plan to address the shortage of cybersecurity professionals. Director Chris Inglis's team is also pushing broader awareness and education about cybersecurity. Different agencies and departments have been using various tools, strategies, and programs to try to broaden the talent pool and fill jobs. The workforce issue is among Inglis's top priorities and says his office is currently looking to hire someone focused on workforce issues specifically. Among considerations for hiring include diversity, something the cybersecurity field has historically struggled with. The latest estimates put the number of cyber vacancies just over 714,000. It's a lot, Layla.
It is a lot. Wow. Well, a new report says the Department of Defense must adopt new approaches to software design and architecture to help the U.S. military maintain an operational advantage over global adversaries. The report is called Software-Defined Warfare and says the architecture needed to develop and maintain the most advanced warfighting systems lies in software. This will allow today's military hardware and weapons to better handle all of the complexity of decision-making, targeting, and resourcing. The report outlines a series of core concepts that the DoD should adopt as it works to design and support weapons and accompanying hardware. This includes moving from vertically scaled architecture to a horizontally scaled model that can distribute computing workloads across smaller systems. The report also suggested eliminating software architectures that have single points of failure, adopting just-in-time software deployment, and building autonomy into endpoint systems. Nick?
Well, the rise in cyber attacks is helping to fuel growth in the market for AI-based security products. But hackers are taking advantage too. AI-generated phishing emails have higher rates of being opened than manually crafted phishing emails. While organizations can leverage the latest AI-based tools to better detect threats and protect their systems and data resources, cyber criminals can also use the technology to launch more sophisticated attacks. The global market for AI-based cybersecurity products is estimated to reach nearly $134 billion by 2030. That's up from $15 billion just last year. An increasing number of attacks, such as distributed denial of service and data breaches, are generating a need for more sophisticated solutions. Trends such as the growing adoption of the Internet of Things and the rising growth of connected devices are expected to help fuel market growth. Layla.
Well, software vendors are now required to self-certify that they're following secure development practices. A new White House guidance stems from last year's cybersecurity executive order, and it applies to government agencies that use third-party software. Chief Information Security Officer Chris DeRusha says the 2020 SolarWinds compromise of multiple agencies was a big turning point. Agencies have 90 days to inventory all of their third-party software, including a separate inventory for critical software. The requirements apply to agencies' use of software developed after the recent announcement, as well as any existing software that is modified by a major version change. Nick?
The State Department's new Cyber Bureau now has a leader. The Senate unanimously confirmed Nathaniel Fick to head the Bureau, its first ever ambassador at large following its launch in April. The Bureau was established to deal with international issues related to cyber and emerging technologies. It has 3 policy units: international cyberspace security, digital freedom, and international information and communications policy. Fick promises to focus on foreign threats, including Russian cyber attacks and the U.S.'s digital competition with China. Fick was previously the general manager of the tech firm Elastic. Prior to that, he was the CEO of Endgame, a cybersecurity software company. Fick also served in the Marine Corps with combat tours in Afghanistan and Iraq. Layla?
3 Iranians have been indicted on cyber-related charges after a ransom scheme hit critical U.S. infrastructure. The culprits are in their 30s and 40s and believed to still be residing in Iran. The hackers are not believed to have been acting on behalf of the Iranian government, but have connections to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, which is deemed a terrorist organization by the U.S. The hacking suspects targeted known vulnerabilities by encrypting and stealing data from networks and threatening to release the stolen information if victims refuse to pay the extreme sums. A $10 million reward is being offered for information relating to the 3 individuals. Nick.
At least 20 Japanese government websites across 4 ministries have been hacked. Since January, there have been several attacks on Japanese soil, including a cyber attack on a Japanese credit card company and social media services operator Mixi. Russian bad actors from the Killnet hacker group are being blamed for the incident. Meanwhile, a Killnet claimed apparently appeared on social media stating that the group was resisting the Japanese government's militarism and kicking the samurai. The pro-Russia hacktivist group used distributed denial-of-service attacks to paralyze the government websites of countries hostile toward the Kremlin. DDoS attacks involve bombarding a target website or network with a barrage of automated requests, breaking its capacity, thus preventing legitimate users from accessing the website. Layla?
Thanks, Nick. Before we go to break, if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you're watching on YouTube, click on that notification bell for our latest posts related to everything military, cyber, and cybersecurity.
And when we come back, a major security breach in Portugal has NATO reeling. We'll have that story and more after the break.
Today's network and security monitoring solutions are vulnerable to overload situations that lead to decreased visibility and undetected intrusions. Monitoring applications require hardware to keep up with real-time traffic analysis, making it complex and costly. Your security monitoring solutions may be unable to keep up during cyber attacks or traffic spikes, making intrusion more likely. A new approach is needed to increase network protection and visibility. Axellio simplifies and streamlines your network monitoring for critical security, network, and application analysis. Learn more at axellio.com.
Please consider donating to the Military Cyber Professionals Association. We are a 501c3 educational nonprofit charity with a volunteer-fueled staff. A great way to donate is through Amazon Smile. It will cost you nothing to use this service. Also, if you're active duty military or a federal employee, we are on the Combined Federal Campaign pre-approved list. Consider a one-time donation or spread out across pay periods. Every little bit helps. Our CFC number is 10386. Thank you for your consideration.
Welcome back. CISA will be holding a series of listening sessions around the country through mid-November. The agency is hoping to get feedback for its implementation of the Cyber Incident Reporting for Critical Infrastructure Act. The law was passed by Congress in March following several high-profile cybersecurity breaches at critical infrastructure providers, including the Colonial Pipeline. It outlines mandatory reporting of covered cyber incidents to CISA within at least 72 hours. hours. The law requires covered entities to report any ransom payments to the agency within 24 hours. But the law leaves it up to CISA to define what counts as a covered entity and a covered cybersecurity incident. CISA is also planning a listening session in Washington, D.C., as well as sector-specific listening sessions. Nick?
The National Security Agency has recently published an assessment of Open Radio Access Network security considerations. Open RAN is the industry term for the evolution of traditional proprietary RAN architecture to an open ecosystem of interoperable hardware, software, AI, and more. Shifting to an Open RAN-based mobile network allows for interoperability between different suppliers, removing the proprietary nature of traditional RAN and reliance on a single vendor. The ESF panel focused on security considerations for several key technical aspects of Open RAN, such as multi-vendor management and other general network considerations, including open source software, virtualization, and a cloud-based 5G core network. As standards are developed and adopted by equipment manufacturers, software developers, and mobile network operators, these security considerations may be mitigated through the adoption of standards and industry best practices. Layla?
Top artificial intelligence official says that the office's strategy will take a down-up approach and start with data. Craig Martell is the Pentagon's first chief digital and AI officer and has been on the job for a little more than 100 days. The Pentagon tapped Martell to oversee its AI efforts this spring. He says the department should focus on metrics, noting that outcome-based measurement ought to be the standard, not just effort-based measures. And from metrics should come analytics, with AI coming in once the needed infrastructure is in place. By focusing more on controlling data, the Pentagon can build a support structure that allows for an intermixture among the different actors and companies working on AI projects. Martell is a former head of machine learning at Lyft. Nick?
NATO documents considered to have extreme gravity have been stolen from the Portuguese government in a major security breach. The incident was discovered by United States intelligence on the dark web, and now the Portuguese government is facing tough questions about why the breach was not discovered for weeks. The NATO documents were taken from the Armed Forces General Staff Agency of Portugal, which runs the country's military. Sources say that bots programmed to scan for these sorts of documents picked them up via the internet. The attack was reportedly conducted over an extended period of time and in several stages. The files, which should have been air-gapped, are now accessible on the internet and are now for sale on a dark web site. Not good, Layla.
No, not at all. Ukraine is experiencing a rapid digital transformation since Russia's invasion 7 months ago. Strong security and military solutions could become Ukraine's main export and expertise. Ukraine's volunteer IT army, established during the onset of the war, has been one of the country's bravest projects. The official IT Army of Ukraine Telegram channel currently has more than 200,000 subscribers. The growth is due to its desperate self-defense. However, officials say the Russian threats in cyberspace are far from over. Ukraine's government fears that Russia would use precision cyber or hybrid attacks with their real-world invasion stalls, that is. Russia's cyber attacks that have coincided with military operations go as far back as its conflict with Georgia in 2008. Nick?
Well, finally today, Cybersecurity Awareness Month is just about here, and CISA will be in Atlanta on Tuesday, October 4th, its 5th annual National Cybersecurity Summit. For the first time since 2019, this year's event will be live and in person at Morehouse College's Ray Charles Performing Arts Center. The summit brings together cybersecurity and critical infrastructure stakeholders from around the world and provides a forum for meaningful conversations and collaboration about how it can protect the physical and cyber infrastructure. You can register for the event by visiting Eventbrite's 5th Annual National Cyber Security Summit page. And if you're in the car listening and would rather watch, be sure to check us out on our YouTube channel. Find us at Military Cyber Professionals Association or MilCyber.org for all our content related to all things military, cyber, and cybersecurity. Be sure to like and subscribe and click on that notification bell for our latest posts. Also, if you'd like to donate to the MCPA, it's easy with Amazon Smile. If you click on the link below, you can start shopping, and a portion of your purchase goes to MCPA at no extra cost to you. Also, don't forget to use our CFC code, which is 10386. Layla?
Right. Thanks, Nick. Well, that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for watching and listening. You're now in sync with MilCyberSync. We'll see you again next week.
This has been the MilCyberSync podcast, brought to you by the Military Cyber Professionals Association. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you're watching us on YouTube, click on the notification bell for our latest posts.
Please consider donating to the Military Cyber Professionals Association. We are a 501c3 educational nonprofit charity with a volunteer-fueled staff. A great way to donate is through Amazon Smile. It will cost you nothing to use this service. Also, if you're active duty military or a federal employee, we are on the Combined Federal Campaign pre-approved list. Consider a one-time donation or spread out across pay periods. Every little bit helps. Our CFC number is 10386. Thank you for your consideration.